Hello and welcome. My name is Manuel Quintana here with Pragmatic Works, and I'm going to be going through an item which is very common, and that's going to be basically what should we be thinking about when we're editing and modifying and maybe updating semantic models in Fabric. So from here, of course, we have tons of videos out there. I know there's going to be a video there from Nick Lee on like kind of creating your first semantic model. Obviously, if you're familiar with Fabric, the idea of how to create one is pretty simple. It's like a button, or you can do it from the desktop tool. But in that video, we're going to talk about more like what you need to be, the do's and don'ts, if you will, right? Kind of seeing what are the right things we should be observing and paying attention to. And that'll be the idea around this video as well, right? Where are some options? What should we be looking at? What should we be considering? Some things to kind of take into account. And for any of you who are avid Power BI desktop users, this is going to be an emphasis of this video itself, right? Whereas Fabric, of course, is a great environment, a one-stop shop. You can do pretty much everything through that browser experience. Sometimes you just have a need and a want to kind of go back to the way you remember and do everything in Power BI desktop, write your DAX, define your relationships, do all that fun stuff, right? And just to, it might be something that's not immediately obvious. So we're going to make sure we go through the motions and ensure that you can know and understand how to do this. And also, there are some reasons why you might want to accomplish this, namely kind of around the idea of preview features. In another video that I'll be doing, I'll be going through the newer kind of DAX functionalities known as user-defined functions. And in order to achieve that, you have to do it through Power BI Desktop if we want to make this a part of our Fabric semantic models. So important stuff here. It should be a pretty straightforward elements. And I am going to start from scratch in the sense. So if you don't have a semantic model ready to go, it should be pretty darn quick. But that's our focus. I've got a semantic model. What are some options? What are some things? What are some considerations I should have around updating, modifying, changing those semantic models that are in existence? So let's go ahead, swing over into the Fabric service, and let's start the process by looking at the data, getting a semantic model, and making sure everybody's ready to go if you wanted to follow along. So as you can see, I'm here. I'm actually already logged into the Fabric service itself. I'm in a Fabric-enabled workspace, and I have a lakehouse. If you have your own lakehouse, if you have your own source, or if you have your own semantic model already, that's fine. You go and you can utilize that and kind of mimic me as we go through it. But if you want to follow me step by step, what I'm using here is simply the sample lakehouse available to you, to anyone inside of Fabric. So if you're interested, just create your workspace first. You can see it's there and available. And then from there, you simply go over to the workloads area. Once this finishes loading up, if you scroll down a bit to go under the section for my workloads, just click on the first tile there, my data engineering. And here you have a tile in the upper left, which talks about Explorer sample, getting started. And if you click on this, you'll have three choices. The one we're going to be leaning into, and I've already done, is this retail data model from worldwide importers. So if you want, just click on that, give it a few moments, and you'll be in the exact same scenario that you can see that I am just here, right? Now, granted, there is no semantic model. So that brings us to the first item in question, right? Once again, there's going to be another video just around the creation of it. For here, we're going to do this very simply. It should be noted that this process can be identical inside of the Power BI desktop, and I'll talk about that once we switch over to using it. But for me, I'm simply going to go right into the actual lakehouse itself. I'm going to go ahead, simply create a new semantic model. You may have certain naming conventions that you like to use in your organization. Feel free. I'm going to put a little SM to represent semantic model, and I'm simply going to go ahead and say this is my worldwide sales, right? It's something to indicate what this represents. And for now, let's go ahead and select pretty much everything except for city. I'm going to omit that for the moment. And we're going to go ahead and hit confirm. Like I said, not a lot of decision-making process here for this video. We just want to get that semantic model as if it already exists. So we can kind of move on to the focus of, well, here's a semantic model. I have access to it. You know, what are some things I can do about maintaining, updating it, and the likes? Once that's situated, it will open up that semantic model. Whenever it's that first time in creation, it'll just open that up, ready to do modeling. Now, we've had multiple videos, we do boot camps, and of course, this process is fairly straightforward in the sense of it's just the same conversation we've had with Power BI Desktop for the longest time. We are here so that we can define relationships, we can add calculations, right? We can do DAX measures here. We can hide columns from the report view. We can modify some formatting choices here for reporting purposes. A lot of the things we know and love are here. One of the bigger things that we don't have available are things like creating calculated columns. It's just not an option for our Fabric semantic models. So rather than going into this area, we're actually going to go and visit Power BI Desktop to showcase you can actually do everything you want from the browser. Maybe you're having some issues with your browser, something's not going right. Sometimes it feels a little bit snappier to me actually in the desktop tool. But we're going to see how we can access basically all the same features there from the desktop. But also there are certain things that you can only do do from the desktop. With no further ado, I'm going to leave us here. Actually, what I'll do is I'm actually going to close out of the semantic model for now. We'll revisit it to showcase and validate that, yes, it's actually making these changes. There's my semantic model, but this is all about using the desktop tool. I'm going to go ahead. I already have the desktop open. It's just kind of in a blank state. I haven't done anything. It just blank report. And here's the thing. I just created it very quickly from the Fabric Lakehouse. I just hit new semantic model. If you wanted, you could have done that right from here. All you would do is go One Lake Catalog, choose your lakehouse, find the lakehouse in question, and it would provide it effectively the same screen. What's the name of your semantic model? What workspace do you want to save this into? If I were to click, let's say, a different artifact here, it's just I'm going to arbitrarily pick something. You're going to see the screen that it presents for. So we could have gone this route, and this is going to create as soon as you go through this process. As soon as you select the tables in question and the workspace you're interested in, and you select OK, that semantic model is there. It's in the service. It's ready to go. It's operating in direct lake mode. All right. Well, in our case, I already created the model because that's the idea. You already have something there and available. But what we can do now is we can connect to this. Now, this might not be revolutionary. We have a semantic model already, so we don't need to necessarily go where we just went for the lakehouse. We actually choose, I want to hook into a Power BI semantic model. Now, the obvious choice here, right? The semantic model we created is just right here, WWI sales. It's connect. It's the native thing. You can see it in the bottom right corner, connect. Now, just in case, for full transparency, when we hit connect here, what we're doing is we're connecting to this semantic model in direct lake mode so we can start adding visualizations. A very important thing to note as well is you do have the capability at this juncture to add calculated columns. But here's the thing that's most important, and I'll show you. If I were to go in here, we can see I have my fact sales table. In this, I have a column called total including tax. We're just going to pick that one. There's actually two, but I'm going to go total including tax and say, you know what? That's my total sales. That's the column that represents it. And I know I'm going to be doing a ton of stuff with visuals around that. So I'm going to create a calculated measure. I've learned about all the best practices and the reasons why we want to create these explicit measures. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to create one. So I go, click on the table, new measure, and I move through the motions, right? Let me open this up a little bit more. Total sales. And all it is the sum including tax. Just like that. And even so, when I do this, I do have the opportunity, right, to set this as a currency, just like that. So I can do whatever I need to, go English United States if we wanted to. But I'm going to leave this as such, just like this, to show you something. There's the measure. We can see the calculator icon. I'm going to head back to the service, right? Because remember, this is the semantic model that lives out in that workspace that's tied to that lakehouse. If I return to this item and view by going into the open semantic model and I open up fact sale, there's no measure here, right? So it's important to note when you use a desktop tool and you use that connection option, you're basically connecting to this to create a very specific report. You're not going in, you're not actually editing. You actually don't have the ability by default to kind of move or change relationships or do any of that. Yes, you can create a calculated measure, but you're creating that measure specifically for that report. Maybe that is what you'd like to do, but if we're thinking about creating some of these base measures, that would be something very useful and effective for all report users to take advantage of, right? Anybody who would be connecting to this to create their own reports, it would be advantageous for them to just have a total sales measure ready to go, right? Create it centrally, and then all the reports can take advantage of it. Quite often, that is what you want for your DAX measures. But yes, there definitely are scenarios where you want something just very niche specific. It's really only for your report. Well, in that case, Power BI Desktop, connect, do all your visuals, and then add those report specific measures. Very important to note, it doesn't seem very obvious when you're doing it. He's like, hey, yeah, here's the model. I'm going to create a measure, but it is not there. It's not stored as part of the semantic model. So if someone else connects to this, there is no total sales. So do keep that in mind when you choose and use that connect option. So let me go ahead over here back to the desktop tool. I'm actually for the moment going to delete this, right? I'm going to remove this because we know it's only at this report. I am responsible for updating and amending and, cleaning up and adding measures to this. And I've been told that a semantic model has been created for me. There's been no modeling done to it, and that is my responsibility. So I'm going to actually leave this desktop open because if we want to validate or look at anything, it'd be good to have this there. But I'm actually going to open up another instance of Power BI Desktop and almost go through the identical steps that we just did, but I'm not going to hit the connect button, all right? So I'm going to hit blank report, a One Lake Catalog, Power BI Semantic Model, and then when I highlight and select the semantic model in question, I'm going to hit the green arrow just here, and I am going to hit edit, all right? Now you're going to see immediately there's going to be kind of a different behavior here. we lose the reporting pane, and instead we have our modeling. That's it. There's no, there's going to be no data view. There's going to be no report view because we can't create visualizations here. And because we're operating in direct lake mode, we're not going to have anything to view in the data view anyways. All we're left with is the modeling view. And you also have the DAX viewer and the Tyndall viewer, right? If you have that turned on. And you'll notice there's a little green bar there that says live editing your model using direct lake. If we look at this, I'm going to alt tab to my browser real quick. I mean, it's almost indistinguishable, but we are actively, while we're in the desktop, whatever we do here, it's going to sync and be showing up there immediately. And that's what it says. All changes are automatically applied to your model in the service. We are in a state right now where we are making adjustments. So the things we do here will impact everybody who's going to connect to this. So if we do this again, go over to fact sale, right click, go with a new measure. We're going to go with total sales, same thing. All right. Total including, that's what we're going to decide to go with. I'm going to set that. I'm as well going to go ahead and modify the properties here. So I'm going to switch this to a currency. I'm going to go here with English US and it's automatically saving, right? Here's the difference. I return back to the actual service itself where we know this centralized model exists. And I'm going to refresh this real quick. Just do a classic, just refresh here. Sometimes after a moment, the browser just does an automatic cache refresh. So it will just show up. But now if I open up fact sale, there it is. Total sale is available here, right? So you have that choice. You can narrate, you can move, we can add relationships. So everything you would do in the browser, you can accomplish here, right? To me, it feels very responsive. And like I said, the web browser is great and it works and it does all of these things in an awesome fashion, but it is a browser. I remember one time I was there, I was working through the process and I was in the middle of writing a DAX formula out in the browser and maybe I accidentally hit F5 or something, but my browser did a refresh when I wasn't done writing out my DAX and it was gone. Right? So depending on how far down the line you are with writing that could be a problem, right? But you're never going to have that problem here. Obviously, if there is an outage in internet, you have zero connectivity, you're going to lose that connection to the semantic model for the updating purposes, but the desktop is not going to shut down. You're still going to have that code in front of you, so you still would have access to it. So that's like a small personal anecdote where I've had that. This is here. It's great. It feels more tactile when I'm using it as well. And as I mentioned, yes, you can go and define those relationships, right? We can find that fact table. I can find my customer key, drag it to customer key, and everything remains the same. But what is something, and I mentioned that you could do here that you cannot do over there? Well, something that's very paramount and critical, right, is sometimes we want to dig into preview features. And mainly, as I mentioned, I'm going to be doing a different video around user-defined functions. If you were to go out here into the actual service, and you go to the modeling side to find your section for, in this case, functions, there should be a folder there. Granted, this is a preview. So once this comes out of preview, this should be available on the service as well. But for now, it's not. So I want to show you this. It's not available to us. I cannot create a new function here. Technically, there's ways you can go into the Tyndall view and just write it that way programmatically. But if we go and notice over in the desktop tool, I've enabled this feature for myself. And here are my functions right there. And literally with the ellipsis, new function, I will have this. It'll function. It'll work. I can define my DAX to take advantage of those functions, and you can deploy it out to the semantic model, and everything will continue to work. Naturally, this is something specific to the state of user-defined functions being in preview, but we get preview features all the time. So if you're working with Fabric and you're leveraging semantic models, and potentially there are some elements from a preview perspective that you'd like to work with, more than likely, coming here to the desktop is how you're going to be able to take advantage of that, right? So I have found myself a lot more when they came out with this live edit mode. Tell you, I very much enjoy it. I, yes, do find myself using the browser quite often, but especially if I'm in a session and I have any sort of hiccups, like I said, browser refresh, something like that, and I miss DAX expression gets lost once, I'm generally in the desktop tool and I feel just very comfortable. Either or, as far as modeling and design goes, perfectly fine and acceptable. This is just something that I wanted to make sure you are aware of. And also, if you did want to take advantage of certain preview features, it's actually the only option you can actually take advantage of. But everything remains the same, right? If we're in here in the desktop tool and we want to continue and maybe make some modifications, right? As far as what tables we have in here, we can make those changes and adjustments. We can just go and kind of leverage this, and you can do the calculation groups in here. We can do this linguistic schema, all of these items available for us to take advantage of, right? So definitely something that I would recommend if you haven't to take advantage of. But please don't forget the difference between hitting the connect option, which is mainly what you'd use just for visualization purposes, versus the edit option. As always, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.